So, we are talking about the signal leak. I have never in public discussed my background, and I don't usually like getting into it for a multitude of reasons. I am from the intelligence community. I have been out for quite some time. It's important to understand that aspect of me and why I can offer the opinion that I have. When you work within the intelligence community, you understand how layered it is. It is very layered, very segregated for a reason. If everybody knows everything, then a single person can become a chink in your armor. The mafia knew this, and the mafia operated the exact same way. Everyone may be privy to in operations going on. Each member would have certain details. Maybe some of the details that they were given were intentionally incorrect, but insignificant. If a leak were to come because you know the exact details that were handed out to each individual person, you now know who the source of your leak is. The intelligence community operates in a very similar fashion. We don't give information for the same purpose of identifying who the leaked source is because we're not operating exactly the same as the mafia was. However, we do segregate who gets to know what information. I personally have been on a deployment with my coworkers where me and one other analyst were pulled aside and we were read in because the way that it works is you have a group of you have like a security clearance level that everyone has, and then it gets broken down into different compartments. That's what it means when we say that it is compartmentalized. That is how a TSSCI works. Just because you have a top secret clearance does not mean you have access to everything that falls within top secret level. There are special compartments to it. The secret level operates the same way. They are broken down into subcategories. Now, a lot of people will be familiar with the main categories, where it may be secret, so we'll say secret rel means releasable to. You'll have secret releasable to sometimes no foreign entities. Sometimes it will be, say, maybe US and Canada. There are, however, different categories that a lot of people have never seen or heard of. And there are compartments that are related specifically to operations. So you have to be read in to know about this operation that is ongoing. That operation may be a standalone operation, or it may be incorporated into many other operations that everyone else is aware of. When I say myself and one other analyst were read in, we had an entire team of analysts, both civilian and military, working together within the same shop. We all had the same purpose, the same goal. We were part of the same missions. However, Myself and the other analyst were aware of another operation that was being conducted simultaneously that no one else knew about. It's not because I'm special. It's not because he was special. We were selected at random, which is usually how this works. Based on your competency, your skills, they may select you. Hey, you're going to be a part of this. Do you want to be a part of this? What is it? We can't tell you until you sign and you're read in. That is how it works. It does not mean that you're some super cool special secret guy, okay? I just want to get that out of the way. I have nothing to gain. I don't think I have any cool points by telling you this information. But this will help the average person who is not aware of the community understand how and why certain things happen. It was not me conducting it. It was not my buddy. We were simply made aware of it. If they, the people that were running that operation, needed any information from us because we were on the ground level, we would be their sources. If they needed us to do anything, which they never did, it was a cool operation to be made aware of, but I never participated in it. No one else within my shop or the entire unit had any idea that that operation was being conducted at the same time our operations were being conducted. It happens in the background, and it was very effective. I was made aware of some of the impacts from it. The reason I say this is because when you run a covert operation like that, sometimes you're doing something for the sake of being secretive so you have a tactical advantage. Sometimes you are deliberately showing a weakness. There is a lot of use in being able to show your weakness while you are monitoring your enemy. That allows you capabilities to understand what assets they have, helps you better understand the capabilities of the threat. By showing a weakness that is a controlled weakness that you have set contingencies for, so you mitigate the impact if anything were to come from the supposed weakness. That allows you to now understand so many capabilities of your enemy. You understand what assets do they have to respond with, what tactics will they use to respond. You have the capability of sussing out their collections capabilities. Are your comms compromised, right? That's one thing. You could also have a leak. Maybe you suspect that there is a mole within your organization. And I don't say mole from my perspective. We don't use that term in the level I worked at. Okay. We don't deal with spies. That wasn't something I dealt with. It's just a common term that most people will be familiar with. That's why I say this. So, for those of you within the community, know that I'm not trying to sound like James Bond. So, when you're running an operation like this, there will be the majority of the people that are involved in the main operation that will be unaware of the concurrent side operation. This is how you can end up with government officials that should know what they're talking about saying, no, that never happened. This operation was never conducted. We never did anything of the sort. Only to have it revealed later through any kind of document leak or declassified after decades. That's how you find out, hey, this was happening. This was being conducted. It doesn't mean that person was lying to you. That person may not have been read in. And if they're a high level person, it does not mean that they're going to be read into it. If they are not part of the direct chain that is being formed for that mission, they may not be read in. So that's something that you need to consider when you look at any kind of leak that we have, any kind of looks like an accident that shows some kind of vulnerability on our behalf. There are a lot of times, and I can tell you, I know this to be true from personal experience. There are a lot of times that we reveal information strategically to see how it is collected and what is done with it. That's not a secret to anyone within the community, but the average person is unaware of how these things actually work. Just because you see on the surface X is happening does not mean that Y and Z are not also happening in the background on a different level. Just some food for thought. Take it into consideration that when you see something, especially if it is a really big public report going out, wide stream sensationalized thing, a lot of times that is by design. So I don't have any information that would say definitively either way if the signal leak was intentional or if it was an unintentional leak. But I do see similarities that suggest to me that it this information being released was no accident. It was intended to be released. There are two different reasons I can see for that being released. There are two different benefits to releasing this type of information. So I would suggest to you that don't get tinfoil hat. Don't believe in the wild, outlandish conspiracies, but do think from a logical perspective. Would there be strategic value in this that may not be immediately visible? Because there are a lot of times that that is proven to be true. That is about all I have on the top of my head for this subject. Stay diligent, think critically, think for yourself, and think long, because what's immediately available, the first thought, is not always right. Okay, that just about does it for this video. We'll see ya.